All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, most important themes in Homer's Odyssey, Nostos, homecoming. Seriously, if you're studying the epic for your A-levels, getting a solid grip on this concept is, well, it's everything.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, what exactly is Nostos? Then we'll get into the 4 different kinds you see in the epic, how it helps fix things in Ithaca, what the big-name scholars have to say, and finally, we'll wrap it all up.
All right, first things first, what is Nostos? I mean, it's so much more than just a journey home.
So you've got to ask yourself this fundamental question. What's more important, the glory of war or the journey home? I mean, this is the massive shift from the Iliad to the Odyssey, right? The Iliad is all about Kleos, that immortal fame you win in battle. But the Odyssey, yeah, it's playing a whole different game.
And here it is. The key thing to remember about Nostos is that it's not just about getting back on a ship and sailing home. It's way deeper than that. We're talking about a full-on transformation, emotional, spiritual. It's about surviving for sure, but it's also this kind of moral renewal. Becoming the person you were meant to be, back in the place you belong.
And this right here, this table just lays it all out so clearly. You've got Kleos, glory, the beating heart of the Iliad, versus Nostos, homecoming, the soul of the Odyssey. Think about it. Achilles picks glory and a short life. Odysseus, he picks the long, hard road home. That contrast, that's gold for any essay you're writing.
Okay, let's get into the really juicy stuff. Because Homer doesn't just give us one simple idea of homecoming. No way. He gives us 4 different faces of Nostos, exploring it from every possible angle.
So let's start with the dark side. The first type is what you could call Nostos gone wrong. This is the horror story, the cautionary tale that shows what happens when a hero actually makes it home, but home itself is completely corrupted. This is the story that hangs over Odysseus' head for his entire journey, like a constant, terrifying warning.
And of course, we're talking about Agamemnon, the great king, the leader of the Greeks. He makes it all the way back from Troy, only to be murdered by his wife in his own bathtub. I mean, wow. His fate just hammers home the point that a successful Nostos isn't a one-man show. You need loyalty, you need a moral compass back home. It's the ultimate reminder of just how high the stakes are for Odysseus.
Now, on the complete flip side, you have Nostos as the ultimate driving force, that deep burning desire for home that pushes our hero through everything, every storm, every monster, every seductive offer, and yeah, you guessed it, this is Odysseus' entire deal.
And this moment with Calypso is just everything. Just stop and think about what's on the table here. A goddess is offering him immortality and to be ageless forever. This is literally the greatest prize our Greek hero could ever dream of. And he says, no. He turns it down. That one choice tells you everything you need to know about the Odyssey's values. For Odysseus, his mortal life, his wife, his son, his home, that's worth more than being a god. Incredible.
All right, type 3, Nostos in secret. Because sometimes just getting home isn't enough. The return itself has to be a test of wits. You can't just waltz through the front door when your palace is crawling with over 100 hostile suitors, right?
So what do? Both Odysseus and Telemachus have to use metes, that classic Greek cunning intelligence, just to survive in their own home. Odysseus comes back disguised as a beggar to scope things out. Telemachus has to sneak back to Ithaca to avoid an ambush. Their homecoming isn't some big welcome party. It's a full-on secret mission. And that disguise, that deception, it's what lets them figure out who's loyal and who's not, setting the stage for their comeback.
And finally, our 4th type, the complete loss of Nostos. This is what happens when homecoming is thrown away because of sheer stupidity and a lack of respect for the gods. Because let's be real, not everyone who leaves Troy gets to come home.
Just listen to the despair in Odysseus' voice here. Should I just jump overboard and die or endure? His crew, driven by greed, literally opens the bag of winds when they can see Ithaca on the horizon. They just blow their own homecoming away. And it's a pattern, right? From the Cicones to the cattle of the sun god, their lack of discipline is a total contrast to Odysseus' self-control. And in the end, it costs them everything, leaving Odysseus all alone to finish the journey.
So, okay, we've seen the different types, but this all builds to something much bigger. Odysseus' homecoming isn't just about him. It's about restoring the moral order of an entire kingdom.
Just look at the suitors. They constantly mocked the disguised Odysseus. This isn't just bad manners. It's a massive violation of xenia, the sacred code of hospitality that was like the bedrock of Greek society. Their behavior shows you just how rotten things have gotten in Ithaca without a king. They're literally eating him out of house and home and tearing the whole social fabric apart.
But then you see this. Odysseus, still dressed as a beggar, fires back at the disloyal maid, Melantho, and his rage is controlled, it's strategic. He's not just some helpless old man. He's starting to flex his authority again, testing people, putting all the chess pieces in place for the final showdown. He is literally taking his house back from the inside.
And this isn't random. The great scholar Peter Jones makes a fantastic point about this. He argues that as the story progresses, the attacks on Odysseus get less and less successful. Remember when Eurymachus throws a stool at him and misses? That's not just a lucky break. Homer is showing us that the balance of power is already shifting back to the rightful king. Order is being restored, bit by bit, long before he ever picks up that famous bow.
Okay, time for the part that's going to take your essays from good to great. We need to bring in some scholars. Using critical perspectives is how you add that extra layer of depth to your arguments.
Think of this table as your critical toolkit. You've got Grace LaFrance, who connects Nostos to this idea of an internal change tied to home and family. Then there's Gregory Nagy, who sees it as something more metaphorical, a return to life and light, like coming back from the dead. And of course, Peter Jones, who we just mentioned, with his focus on restoring order and identity. Picking one or two of these to weave into your analysis, that's going to make your work stand out.
All right, let's pull all of this together. We've looked at all the angles, so what's the big takeaway? What is the true meaning of Nostos? Because by now, we know it's so much more than just arriving home.
Because here's the twist. He's done it. He's home, he's reunited with Penelope, the suitors are dead, order is restored. But it's still not over. He reveals to Penelope this prophecy he got from Tiresias in the underworld. He has to go on another journey.
So that leaves us with this huge, final question. If homecoming isn't just a place you get to, but this ongoing process of transformation and restoring balance, does the journey ever really end? The poem seems to suggest that for Odysseus, Nostos becomes a way of life, a constant state of being, not just a one-time event. And leaving your examiner with a thought like that? Yeah, that's how you make an impression.